streaming to the world.
Yep.
I love that.
People joining constantly, but now under no pressure.
3 people online. Okay, welcome everybody to today's Innovation Meetup on the basics of crowdfunding. Just a quick curiosity first of all, was wondering, is it anyone's first time here at the Innovation Centre in Croydon?
Oh, no.
First timers? Welcome one and all for joining us here today. And another quick question for you, anyone run a crowdfunding campaign before of any kind? Nobody's run a oh, virgin territory, amazing, okay, good. So that's anyone thinking of running a crowdfunding campaign or considering it, maybe just interested, okay, that's cool, no worries. So hello, my name's Simon Chuter, I'm the Sales and Marketing Innovation Advisor at the Sussex Innovation. So as some of you will no doubt know, we're based down at the University of Sussex campus in Falmer, and I spent my time between there and here and have the great pleasure of working with businesses on their sales and marketing strategy, getting my hands dirty with them as and when necessary. Tommy, who's here today from RSCPP and Thrive, I've done a lot of work with, so if you want to ask him about what we're like to work with, he's a good chap to have a chat with about that. And run a few crowdfunding campaigns with different members as well, which you'll hear a bit about later on. Just to say that it's relatively informal today, although we do have some stuff to show you and share with you. I think we've got all your email addresses if you've registered via our Eventbrite page, so we'll happily share this all with you via email so that you have it to look back on in the future. So from my side, just sit back, enjoy your lunch, and your questions as we go through, please feel free to ask them, and there'll be an opportunity for questions at the end as well. So that's me. You follow me on Twitter, you'll get a name, things about Brighton Hove Albion, as well as sales and marketing innovation as well. Here's my colleague Kelly.
Hi, my name's Kelly Roche and I work in the support team with Simon. My main area of focus is market research as well as marketing, and I get quite involved in the crowdfunding side of things, initially through the research side, so looking into different crowdfunding platforms for people, looking at case studies of successful projects in their field, so that they could prepare and plan for their campaign, and then that's kind of grown to gaining more expertise about crowdfunding. We've worked with quite a few members now, and people within our network in Brighton particularly, running campaigns.
Cool. So over the next sort of 20 minutes or so, this is what we aim to get through with you. Some real basics. So what is crowdfunding? Why could it be a good opportunity for you to use it? How can you go about using it, sort of in terms of which platform, which funding model might be the best for you? How about running rewards, the project plan, everything that goes with that, the PR and marketing side, and then hopefully some really good insights and top tips from having run campaigns ourselves. We won't just share with you our successes, we'll also share with you some of our challenges, won't call them failures, but some of the challenges we faced along the way with crowdfunding, so you can learn from that experience yourself as well. And then hear from a few case studies of different members of the Innovation Centre who've run their own crowdfunding campaigns and seen, again, learning from their successes. And then again, like I say, opportunity Q&A at the end. So what is it, Kelly?
So some of you may be more familiar with crowdfunding than others, but in basic terms, crowdfunding is a way to raise funds for a specific project. So this could be a community sort of project, it could be launching a new piece of technology, perhaps you've invented a particular gadget or something. It's a way of getting that product out there and raising money through that. It's time bound, so you set a particular duration of your campaign. The average duration is 30 days, but you can do shorter or longer. And backers, so the people that are putting money into your campaign, can only back it within that time bound period, and it's got an end date and you can't sort of shift that once you've defined it. And you have a target, and that target can be flexible or fixed funding, which is something we'll expand on a little bit in a moment. So pledges are made by a crowd of backers, and that's where the term crowdfunding comes from. So you may have, from 50 backers, you may have 100 backers, you may have 1,000, depending on sort of the levels of rewards you have and the value of each of those. And those backers receive a reward or equity in return. So today, Simon and I will be speaking mostly about the reward-based crowdfunding, which is where a backer puts in some money to the campaign and then receives a reward back. And we'll talk through some types of reward that could be. There is another type of crowdfunding, which is equity-based crowdfunding. Some of you might have heard of the platform Seeders, and Seeders are actually going to be running an event here in our Innovation Centre in May. Saffron will tell you a bit more about that later. But they do the equity-based crowdfunding where the backers actually receive a share in the business. That tends to be a sort of second stage project. The normal kind of order of events is to run a reward-based crowdfunding first, and then an equity-based one, because that's kind of more serious level of investment and level of sort of obligation backwards. And the online platform takes a fee, so that's how their business model works. They take typically a 5% cut of the rewards that are made to your campaign.
Cool. Okay, so always a good place to start. Why use crowdfunding? Lots of people come to crowdfunding often because of this motivation. They need money for their idea, for their business, to take it forward to the next stage. Actually, interestingly, our experience of crowdfunding actually is that yes, it can provide money, yes, it can help take to the next stage, but actually the real value of crowdfunding that we see is in validating your business model and taking product to market and actually proving, okay, so we've done through our whole strategy piece, we think this is our target segment, this is how we're going to position this product, these are the comms we're going to use, these are the kind of things that we think this is the problem that we're going to solve, and we think this is the product or service to do that. Well, what better way of actually validating all of that strategy and all of that planning and all of that thinking than actually getting people to pay for that product or service you're looking to test. So in terms of the stages of the business, you're looking at really your early adopters, your innovators, who are those first customers who are actually going to buy and potentially going to be your customer champion in the future and really kind of rave about your products and in the wider marketplace. So it's a fantastic way of launching products onto market, and not just products but services as well, but typically quite often products or indeed new campaigns, and we'll give examples of those in a bit as well. But it really helps you kind of get confidence and validate the sense of traction of your business as well, that you really have identified a pain point, a problem, and it really helps to validate your value proposition you've been thinking about as well. And you can get feedback from people who again go on to buy your service or product, and you obviously get all their data as well. So in terms of the email address or the contact information, that can be incredibly valuable to you at the early stages of a new thing. And this isn't just for new businesses, new products. It can often be a very established business that are looking to bring a new thing to market. They can use crowdfunding. So it's very much kind of open to all on that side. And I'd say it's been proven time and again now, and it's starting to mature as people get further learning about how to best run crowdfunding campaigns and do them far more effectively.
Right, I'll grab that.
Yeah, by all means. Cool.
Did you guys want to find any stalls or seats?
Yeah, don't forget to come.
So we're just going to run through some of the basic elements of setting up and running a crowdfunding campaign. So we're going to look at which funding model, the platform, targets and rewards, project plan, how to market it and get the word out there through PR and marketing, and some top tips. So there are two types of funding model within the reward-based crowdfunding. Flexible funding or all or nothing. So flexible funding is essentially you keep whatever you raise. So even if you set a target, say, of £10,000, and by the end of your campaign, and you've only raised half, you've raised £5,000, you will get to keep that, minus the platform fee, but you will get to keep it. So the pros of that is it's a bit less risky. You're definitely going to get the donations that are pledged to you, but on the other hand, it could have less impetus for backers to donate to really push towards that final target that you've set. The other model is all or nothing, so that's sort of the opposite. So you must reach the target that you set or you get nothing. So again, with the example, if your target was £10,000 and you only raised £5,000 at the end, that money will not be taken from the individual's bank accounts and put through, you don't get anything. Even if you raise £9,950, you wouldn't get it. You'd probably be worth putting in 50 quid of your own money to make sure you did in that instance, but you wouldn't get it. So the positives of that is a lot of people say it's worth doing an all or nothing one because it does give that more momentum and sort of urgency for your crowd to help you reach the target. You can be really shouting about it through your channel, saying we're this close, we just need a little bit more, and then maybe backers will be inclined to give us a bit more because they really want to see it happen and they really want to get their reward, and if it doesn't reach the target then they won't. However, the disadvantage of this model is that it can be higher risk, so you may put in a lot of time and effort, and then if you don't actually reach your target, then you don't get anything. So the flexible funding is good if any amount of money, you'll be able to kind of keep your promises in terms of rewards, and you'll be able to do something with the money. So it's popular with things like community projects, digital services, perhaps where you've kind of got it in place and then you can give out rewards to people regardless of how much you've got. Whereas the all or nothing is the appropriate one if you need a certain minimum amount of money to actually get off the ground. So say if you were making a physical product and you needed X thousand pounds to actually get the machinery and actually start making it, then you need to select that, because if you only got half the money, you wouldn't be able to actually deliver and produce those rewards for the people. Does that make sense? It can be a bit confusing when you first hear about it. So another thing you'll need to consider is which platform are you going to choose. So there are actually hundreds out there across the world for crowdfunding of the different types. These three are the three top reward-based platforms. Indiegogo and Kickstarter are both global. Kickstarter is the global leading platform for reward-based crowdfunding. Indiegogo is also global and is particularly strong on sort of digital arts, community, music, all that side of things, gaming. Kickstarter is particularly strong on consumer products and technology. And crowdfunder.co.uk is the largest platform in the UK, so particularly good for any products where you're really targeting people in the UK, and they're strong on community projects as well as products, and they offer both types of funding. Indiegogo also offer both types of funding model. Kickstarter only offers all or nothing. So again, it's probably with the tech products because they kind of really do need to reach that target to be able to actually produce their technology. So in terms of target and rewards, for your target you need to think about how much do you need in order to actually do the things that you're saying you're going to do with the money. And what is realistic? So there's a few kind of different ways and tips of working out what's realistic. That when we've worked with companies, we kind of go through the process in planning for it in terms of, okay, if this is our total amount and we are running for 30 days, what would that mean as an average per day? And does that sound realistic? If our average reward is £10 or £50 that we're expecting most people to put in, how many people would need to donate every day, and do we know enough people to actually sort of achieve that and get out the first word to get it out to our network? And also working out how many you can actually produce. If there's a tangible product or reward that you're actually going to send out, what are you going to be able to produce for that money? And in terms of rewards, what can you offer your backers? So we look at case studies of people doing similar projects in a particular industry and to get ideas and sort of inspiration for rewards. But they can range, and they should range, from a small sort of thank yous, a simple online thank you or thank you email if they're just pledging £1 to sort of support the project, to a thank you video, perhaps a sort of certificate, an invitation to an event in the area if it's something local, come along to our launch party and get a VIP ticket, up to actual physical products. Perhaps if you are producing something, they'll get an early version of that product for a discounted price, so that's their incentive to back it. And then it's always good to have a higher value reward as well, and they say normally worth 10% of your overall target goal, which could be something really big like a sort of partnership opportunity or reseller opportunity, depending on what your campaign is about. But it's good to have that big reward as well.
I think it's worth saying about rewards that you need to fulfill on them. You know, at the end of the day, people are giving their hard cash over to you on a promise that you will fulfill on that, and you meet those promises. I think some people, especially in the early days of crowdfunding, were like, "Oh, it's okay, we're a startup. You know, they'll get it when they get it," kind of thing, and they're okay with that. And there is a sense of, I'm not just giving money for an exchange for a reward. I'm also backing this idea and this business and this concept and whatever it is. And there is a kind of, so that's why people get really passionate about it, want to share it virally, that kind of thing. But like I say, it's just not okay in business not to fulfil on your promises. So just because it's crowdfunding doesn't mean that's okay. So I think it's just to bearing that in mind, and that if you're taking on large scales of people looking to give to and get rewards, that's going to take a lot of time with your team to then fulfil and take that forward as well. So this really needs planning and strategic thought before just going, yeah, let's just run a crowdfunding campaign and get some money. It does need planning and thought prior to that.
Yeah, and it's important to think about what it will cost you to get those rewards out, both in terms of money and in terms of time. So if you're only a small team and you're saying, oh, everybody who pledges will get a personalised T-shirt, and you might have backers all over the world, you come to it and actually that's a really big thing to undertake. So actually thinking about what efforts it's going to involve. And like I said, there are options of doing sort of digital rewards, but social media thank yous, videos, and maybe even if you've got expertise in an area, some support or a workshop, or who knows what it could be, but something that's relevant to your campaign, but that you could perhaps do at a low cost. And don't forget to account for the fees, the 5% that will actually be deducted, and postage, packaging, and the cost of winning awards.
Cool. Okay, so this is, I'm not trying to teach you psychedelics, but this is really a really sort of simple plan that we found useful in terms of actually setting up a thing. So the project plan, setting it up, running it, and then obviously the post-campaign activity. If I can extol upon you one thing to remember from this innovation meetup and this talk, it's that stage one, ignore that at your peril. Okay, I recommend nobody to leave this room and go, yeah, I'll set up a crowdfunding campaign tomorrow. It won't. You will really struggle. It will take up. It won't reach its targets, and you're really going to struggle to fulfil on your objectives. Really strategically think through what are our overall objectives, how can we go about fulfilling on that, what's our project plan, what are the resources we're going to need to achieve that, what's the time. And our experience speaks volumes on this side that setting up your campaign can take longer than you think, and also it is time very well invested in doing so. Naturally, once the campaign is live and running, it's a really exciting time actually. When we run campaigns ourselves, it's like, right, launch day, and then every single day we're like going online and checking the project page and seeing how many new backers there are and where they've come from. And it's a great time for the team to really rally around and to be engaged and involved in that side. It's really exciting. And obviously your PR and comms are going out at that time as well. So it's a really, like I say, interesting time to be in that. And then obviously you have your post-campaign activity as well in terms of following through on the rewards that we've just been speaking about there. But yeah, prior preparation prevents pretty rubbish performance. So definitely bear that in mind when you're doing this. So from a PR and marketing perspective, actually engaging this group, your existing network, is very, very important. One of the projects that we worked on, they only had about 200 people on their database. So we actually had to spend a good 3 months actually to build that database, because 200 people from the outset wasn't going to be enough people for us to talk to, communicate with. We'd have needed all of them to back us at 20 quid a head to get anywhere near our target. So it was a real good call to action for that particular organisation to want to build that database and think about how they were going to do that and how they were going to communicate with them, how they were going to retain them as potential supporters in the future as well. Because I think we're going to come to it in a minute, but I might say it now. A really top tip is that you're going to need, on the day of launch, you need 10 people to go on your site and give money. Okay, this is proven time and time again. And so these are going to be your friends, your family, your best customers, whatever it may be. Get those people lined up, and they said to you, face-to-face, email, whatever, yes, Simon, on that date when your campaign goes live, I will go on and give you money. Because this is all about traction. People have trust and confidence and will back successful campaigns. Okay? So another thing, top tip will come up a bit later and remind you of, is that these things, they look to see, and all crowdfunding sites will tell you, campaigns that go on to hit target have achieved 30% of their overall campaign target in week 1. Okay, you need to hit 30% of your campaign target in week 1. So again, that links back to your strategic thinking. How am I going to do that? I need to know enough people, I need to have enough contacts, I need to have enough certainty that I can get to that level if you're to achieve your overall target. 30% at week 1, 10 people backing on day 1. So how can you engage your existing network about it? We've done landing pages for crowdfunding campaigns to seed into our network to let people know it's coming, and by email, there's obviously word of mouth. You can get direct contact with your customers, obviously, social media, blogging, there's lots and lots of ways you can engage people and let them know that this thing's going to happen, so you get a real sense of momentum in the early days of the campaign. Then into your industry networks, press release, email again, making sure that that message is getting out there. And I would really encourage you actually to, once you've chosen the crowdfunding platform you're going to be on, call them, email them. They will support you. Why? Because that's their business model, right? The more successful your crowdfunding campaign is, the more money they make. So they are interested and will be receptive, and in our experience have been really supportive of answering questions as we go through, and even coming for meetings as well, as and when necessary. And then finally, new supporters, again, how can you look to engage them and letting them know about the campaign as well. So really do strategically think through how we can communicate this, what's your value proposition, and then taking messages, having a whole content plan and calendar to go with it as well, so you can engage throughout the campaign. This is you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So kind of a bit of a summary of some top tips that we may or may not have mentioned already. One of our key things is do your research. So look at similar campaigns, do your research on an appropriate target in terms of what other people have done before and what they've been able to achieve. And research rewards as well. So what is it that actually compels people to put money into your campaign? Create a compelling campaign page, including a 2 to 3 minute video. That's sort of the norm. And again, you can look at examples as they're all on there on the platforms.
On that video side of things as well, it's worth saying, people aren't expecting, if you've never made a video before, don't worry. You can do it on your phone these days, okay? With a simple piece of editing software, you can get freely online, no problem. People aren't expecting some Spielberg epic of a video. What they're looking for is the person who is ideally the founder, who's running the business, running the campaign, talking face to camera about the campaign itself and the rewards that you can get in exchange for it. We'll show you some examples, some really good examples later, again, of people we've worked through the Innovation Centre who've done fantastic videos, because it's a great way of summarising your message and really getting your personality of your business, your product across at that moment in time.
Yeah, and the platforms have really good how-to guides on things like the video and the campaign page. You can, it's good to include images, infographics, maps, whatever's relevant to get that across in a concise and clear way to the people visiting your page. As we've said, start with your own network. So the choice of platform is somewhat irrelevant in that most of the traffic that's coming to your campaign page is driven by you. So people don't just go on crowdfunding platforms to browse and then decide to pledge on you, typically. With technology products and things, they might be trying to look for something new and exciting, but generally most of the sort of backers are going to be driven by you, your connections and second level connections and so on. So get those 10 backers lined up on day 1 to get that momentum going as soon as it launches. As Simon said, research shows that you need to hit 30% of your target in the first week to be successful. Be prepared to invest your time and effort in your campaign for it to succeed, and from our experience it really can consume a lot of your time for that, say, 30-day period. It is going to take up a lot of your time, so make sure that you've scheduled it for a time that you and your team will be able to focus on it and keep on top of the communications and updates and so on. And finally, don't adopt the mentality of build it and they will come. I think there's a bit of a misconception around crowdfunding that you can just put it out there and it will take care of itself. You've got to really work on it and do all the preparation and keep going through the campaign with your communications to make it work.
Cool. Nice. So you've just got a couple of case studies, and then we can obviously wrap up, have Q&A and everything else, and carry on with lunch. So TweetRocket, they're a member of the Innovation Centre. They actually grew out of a digital marketing agency called Wonder Labs, and they wanted to productise beyond the agency offering they previously had, and they were looking at Twitter and how they could engage in that platform and create a product that was going to be in demand. So TweetRocket essentially allows any Twitter account to get organic Twitter growth. So rather than getting rubbish fake followers and random things that aren't really relevant to your business, it's about getting genuine, relevant follows, likes, retweets from people from your target market or ideal customer. So that's their business. It's people who don't have a lot of time to want to engage on social media on that side, don't necessarily have a lot of expertise, and the guys built a basic prototype which they wanted to try and take to market, but they didn't have the time necessarily or so much the money to then invest and take that and build and take that forward. So they invested some time and resource in running a crowdfunding campaign, which was really successful. This is the guy's video, which I'm just about to show you, if technology allows. I know.
You started young on that one.
My name is Arnie Upner, and I'm one of the co-founders at Wonderhouse. We're a small, passionate social media studio based at the Sussex Innovation Centre at the University of Sussex in Brighton, England.
We've been managing social media accounts for 8 years now, and in the last few, our clients keep coming up against the same issue over and over again. How do I grow an audience on Twitter quickly and naturally to promote my product or service to? Some of the challenges we regularly face are clients with fake followers, the sheer amount of time it takes to manage a Twitter account, and how slow the process can be, particularly for startups trying to get their product to market. Other solutions out there still require too much of your time and can be overwhelming and cumbersome to use. We created TweetRocket to simplify social media for you or your business.
The current version of TweetRocket was simply a proof of concept to help us manage our clients. At the moment, it helps us with following and unfollowing, completely takes care of tweets, retweets, favourites, and building lists. Not everybody has the time to tweet. Our team of experts curate content from quality news sources and blogs in your industry. We then combine this with relevant hashtags to give your tweets more exposure. Our team manually follow relevant people in your industry and unfollow without exit. So far, we're seeing incredible results that we would never have been able to achieve before, and we're getting some humbling feedback from our customers. Putting TweetRocket in front of a lot of people definitely highlights the need for such a product in the market, but at the same time it showed where improvements need to be made. So now we're making it even better.
The new version of TweetRocket is a complete all-in-one solution to Twitter. You can take control of your campaign in a new state. The results are always amazing. Your new dashboard allows for basic or advanced controls over your content, and it's really easy to track your growth. Like a social media manager, it recommends users to follow and unfollow in your niche. TweetRocket scores every user, weeding out the good from the bad, and it's been built with no assumptions, from people with no experience in Twitter to social media experts. We believe much of the value of our campaigns goes into the initial human setup, which will always be included when you sign up. That way, your account is up and running without you lifting a finger, leaving you to concentrate on your business and hobby. We've also not forgotten why we built TweetRocket in the first place, so we're opening up the platform to other agencies to manage multiple accounts in a clean and simple way. It's taken us many months to get to this point, and we need your help to take TweetRocket to launch and ship it to the world. Please support our Indiegogo campaign by clicking the Contribute Now button next to this video. Thank you.
Okay, so that was the video. It was on the landing page on the crowdfunding site on Indiegogo. The guys raised, it says there, $23,832. And it sounds like playing another video. Back to the slides. Yeah, they raised over $23,000 for a $15,000 goal. They used $3,000 of their own money. So what they actually did, they gamed the system, in their words, by actually investing themselves in the campaign at strategic points to, again, get that traction. And obviously they're paying a 5% fee on that investment, but they got a fantastic return on that as well. So they put, $3,000 of their own budget in terms of time and effort, then $150 was spent in as well. So they smashed their target, 115% funded. It not only got them funding they were looking for, but fantastic PR as well, and getting their products in front of the right people at the right time, and it really helped drive forward their business at that time. They've evolved it even further now. You can now find them as Swift Social, and they're still using the TweetRocket product as part of their overall business. A couple of other quick examples. We won't show videos.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the virtual doctors are a member of our centre. They're an innovative charity who connect healthcare workers in Zambia with GPs in the UK through tablet technology and mobile broadband. And they were looking to expand their technology to further sites in Zambia, and they'd earmarked 3 potential sites they could expand to, and knew it would cost $2,500 to roll it out to each. So they set up a crowdfunding campaign with our support, with that target of 3 potential sites of 7,500. In the end, they raised 2,639, so about a third of the target. But for them, that was a real success because historically they hadn't had any online fundraising before, any sort of digital methods. It was all through Rotary clubs and private individual supporters. So they raised that amount through 67 backers over 28 days. The most popular donation amount for them was £15. Obviously, in this case, it was a charitable organisation, so the rewards they could give were limited, and it was things like thank you emails and videos. And the average donation, with a few of the larger donations, came up to £39. You can see here, and the analytics on crowdfunder.co.uk were very good. You get all the information in terms of your page visits and pledges by day and all that kind of great stuff on a dashboard. And you can just see here, we kind of, after the campaign, we looked at where we'd done some key press releases and marketing, such as through local news, Juice FM in Brighton, the Argus, the University of Sussex, and how that impacted on the visits and the pledges.
Worth noting on the far left hand side there, you can see we've got 4 times as many visitors on the very first day of launch, which told us we've done a great job in terms of preceding and the marketing, the planning that had gone into it, and the press releases and everything else that went out on that day. So again, that initial momentum and how important that was in driving the campaign forward. And finally,
and so the benefits for them were increased awareness, new supporters on the database. So I think of those 67 supporters, 60 of them had never donated before. Forced them to work on their sort of brand messaging and how they told their story, and gave them experience with crowdfunding so they can consider it again in the future potentially. And the learnings were that it does require a lot of time and effort, both before and during the campaign. It's important to get the word out as early as possible and get commitments from newspapers to feature the story early on. And in future, they would like to consider offering more tangible rewards to incentivise people to donate even more.
So that's our wrap on crowdfunding in a nutshell. Now's the chance for you to ask any questions, share your experiences, that kind of thing. So, floor is yours. Hello.
I noticed that the first video we saw, it was a great video. It didn't say anything about benefits that you get. So why was that missing, and how did you get the users to know why they were doing it?
Great. I think it's a great thing you picked up on. I think it's a key failure of that particular video, if I'm honest, that they didn't communicate that particular part of the proposition and the benefit very clearly. It was actually, they communicated that much more clearly on the campaign page itself and the rewards, so you could see at each different reward level what you would get. But that's definitely something I would do if I wouldn't actually work on them with that particular campaign, it's just one they ran themselves. But I would definitely have advised them to be really clear and specific as to, right, you give us this much, this is the benefit you get in return completely. Yeah. Thanks for pointing that out. Hi.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask around any industries that we can't put on the websites and maximum amounts as well.
Okay, no worries. The restrictions around specific industries, I'm not particularly aware of, to be perfectly direct and honest. I imagine there are some. It would be a case of looking at the platforms and looking at their particular sectors and seeing what is acceptable to them or not. There is a kind of, you can't just go on and create a campaign. They do a pre-authorization process. So they don't let anything on that won't work for them, but it's worth, if you have any questions or any doubts, ask them before you get into the whole process of even thinking about the strategic elements of setting the campaign up, would be my advice on that side.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
And then in terms of maximum limits?
It might vary by platform, but you do see some that have really high targets of £250,000 and things, so I don't think there really is a maximum as such. You can also do stretch targets, so if you set a target and then you exceed it and you think it's going really well, and actually for a further amount you could produce more and you could give out more rewards, you can add those stretch targets during the campaign.
Hi.
Is there any pre-release, to give some of us say, and next week will be starting at 28-day funding cycle, so you actually get people to sign up and contact you in advance, so you actually have that big wave week one, because you've actually given people time to...
Yeah.
Would definitely recommend that, absolutely. We did it with virtual doctors, for example.
Yeah, so there's different ways you could do it through your own channels. We had a landing page on their site with a simple email and name form to say, sign up here to be the first to hear about our campaign, so they were kind of lined up. Also, the actual platform itself, such as Indiegogo or crowdfunder.co.uk, allow you to have a preview page that is visible and has the same URL, and it's kind of ready and it says this will go live on this date, so that people can start to view it, and you can even send it around to your peers for feedback.
Send the link out to people.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. Would highly recommend
There's
that.
also a feature on Twitter called Thunderclap, or it's something called Thunderclap, which is essentially getting everybody to say that they will share information at one particular date, like a clap of thunder. So they put in their Twitter handle and details, and then on that date you, as the person running the campaign, can share a tweet and it will go out automatically through all their channels, so it can sort of gain that momentum.
And it won't necessarily mean you're trending globally, but it can mean you're getting early stage traction. And again, it's all, I think, can't emphasise enough really how important traction is in crowdfunding campaigns. People back success, and they see it happening, and they see, and like that moving forward successfully, they'll get on board on that side.
I'm just going to ask in terms of the different types of funding, whether it's sort of seed capital, your own funds, that sort of thing. Do you think there are different benefits of introducing crowdfunding at different moments in the product development cycle?
In summary, yes. Do you want to say that one, Kevin? I mean, you probably, do you want to answer your own question? You're welcome to.
I think that the thing to bear in mind is the fact that if you're to gain most benefit from it, this is part of your market and part of your customers.
Yeah.
So that one of the worst things you can do, and we've seen this in all types of investment, is to almost fool people. You've got a product coming out in 3 months' time, and this is the funding you're getting out, and then the product will come out. And the amount of times I've seen it that people do that, and then no product comes out for 6 months, a year, 2 years afterwards, because in fact they've misled the market. So the more traction and the more open you make these campaigns, it can be equally as bad negatively as it can be positively. But if you do it at the right time, and your product is fairly close to market, then you are creating a real customer interaction, which you can then follow up and continue to work with those people and give them more information, and then use it as part of a product and market launch, as well as a fundraising.
Yes, and I think if you were a totally new startup and you had no existing customers, no network, no sort of partners in the field or anything, then that could be a disadvantage as well, because you wouldn't have those initial people to get it out to you. You do need some traction and some interest already, rather than just coming straight on with a fresh idea that nobody's heard about.
Cool. Other question? Hi.
I'm Keith Taylor.
Hi, Keith.
I'm a hypnotherapist and radio host. I present a US radio station. I also do hospital radio. I say that loosely because it's been closed down for 18 months, and I'm the elephant in the room because I want to keep it going. But nobody else there wants to keep it going. And they've said to me, yeah, crowdfunding, you go and do it, Keith. So that means I've got to do it on my own. And what I'm thinking is, what I need to do, because I'm proactive and they're very negative, is to set up a competing station from scratch with 21st century technology, because that's the way I go, that's the way the future is, but they want to live in the past. They're putting in mixers at the moment with valves in them. That's give you some idea what they might be crazy. So I need to set this up on my own. So what are the chances I'm going to be able to get funding to set up a hospital radio station?
Yeah, I mean,
single-handed.
Every chance. I think it's really about understanding what are you creating and what do we think we can get people involved in. It would suit really well on a community page, on the crowdfunder.co.uk type thing, because just from my own personal perspective, you know, hospital radio, they're fantastic things, and the people who especially have been in hospital and have benefited from it could certainly be people who want to back that and want to support it perhaps. So it'd be a case of understanding who those people are, how can I engage with that audience, how can I start to build that. But the actual process of doing the crowdfunding setup and going through it, it is possible to do it on your own, absolutely, as long as you think about who is going to back this, and then thinking about which platform is right for me, which reward levels are right, how can I run that and do those things, and then how can I fulfil on those promises that Mike was talking about there as well.
Yes, what I need to do, because I'm fairly friendly with the hospital trust because I go to all of their meetings. I'm the only one that's ever done that in Mayday Radio, it's called, just in case you're wondering. At Croydon University Hospital, I'm the only one who's done that, and I was there last night doing that. So, but I'm having a problem because they still view it as Radio Mayday and the committee there. What I need to do is to set up a completely separate organisation, because otherwise it's going to go nowhere and it will stay closed. So what I need to do is to be able to go to the hospital trust and say, look, I've raised 50, 100, 250,000 pounds, so now will you listen to me?
And I guess the challenge that you've got there is the one that maybe Mike was touching on before as well. It's you need to be able to be sure when you promise backers, when you say backers, this is something we're going to do, you can follow through on that. The problem, the challenge would come is you raised 50 grand or whatever it may be, and the hospital trust still turn around to you and say, that's not where we want to go, because then you'd be letting backers down. So I think from my perspective, again,
I will understand what you're saying, but I'm a proactive person. I will make sure that if I've got the funding, the hospital will then listen to me.
One thing you can do is to actually build the community before you do the crowdfunding. Right. It makes it far more likely to be a success of crowdfunding, but also by building the community and getting community support, you may well convince the hospital there is sufficient support to do it anyway, and then you've got that sort of that pre-commitment into it. But in doing that, that's going to be all about local press, all those other things.
I've already written in the press about it.
Well, you know, so it's actually how do you then take that on to being a sort of a proactive campaign linking to that in terms of how you do it. Because one thing you do have a problem with hospitals is they won't tell you or give you the contact details of the patients you've been talking to. So you don't actually have any of the contact information of your previous listeners.
Yes. Indeed.
Let's follow up on that side after. I'm conscious of time and lunch and everything else. Just finally to say then, running a crowdfunding campaign, our experience is it's a fantastic experience, and for the wider team as well in terms of getting involved and getting engaged. Do take your time to think about the planning and give time for that at the beginning in terms of the strategic thought. It'll be time well invested and well spent. If you've got any further questions, feel free to contact Kelly or I or anybody in the Innovation Centre support team, and we can have that conversation with you either informally here or as a piece of project work on that side. We'll, like I said, we'll share the slides from today with you as well. But from our side, thanks for coming along to today's Innovation Eat-Up. I'm sure Stefan's got a few messages for you.
I just wanted to tell you about a few other things which are going on. This week on Thursday we're hosting Croydon Tech City, and we've got the Chief Education Advisor, Lord Knight of Weymouth here. So if your business is particularly around education at all, make sure you're here. Next month we'll be doing Innovation Eat-Up with Pete, who's here today, talking about academic collaborations, how businesses can contribute to what the university is looking to achieve, and how your expertise may be what they're looking for. We're also running Digital Croydon monthly now. So on the second Thursday of the month, every second Thursday, it's a real sort of a geek for geek kind of event. I think I'm allowed to say that. So if you're into software, they have some fantastic speakers, so that's regular as well. And then on the 26th of May, towards the end of next month, we've got Seeders here, as you mentioned before. So Seeders are more about equity funding. So if you're looking to step up your crowdfunding from one level to the next, then come along for that. That would be a really good event. But keep in touch with our website, our events page for all the events that are coming on. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
We've not taken too much of your lunch. And we'll see you again next time.
Great to see you all. Enjoy your afternoon. Thanks.
Yes, I enjoyed it.
Continue your conversation. It sounds like you've got some Michael or the other guys that are around. So.
Yes.
Oh.